In this video, we are going to create a first board. A board is basically the folder where we have our pins. And you can have several different boards, folders, for different categories. For example, one for winter, one for summer, and one for spring. This would be very overall. Or maybe one for summer jeans, one for summer shoes, and so on and so on. The more content you have for a topic, the more you can go into detail here. But let's at first create one. For that, you either just pin a pin or repin a pin by clicking here on save, because then you have to choose a board. You cannot repin or pin without a board. So you always need a board to put your pin in. It cannot fly around in nothing, basically. All right. To create a first board without uploading a pin already, you click on your profile at the top right corner. And here we can scroll down because we see created and saved here. And here is by now nothing, of course. For that, we can search for this little plus icon here, which is in my case at the bottom right corner, and click. And then we see create pin, idea pin, or board. We don't create content now. We start with the board. And then we have to name it. And naming means, here are also examples, for example, summer dresses, or places to go, or recipes to make. So basically a combination of keywords, recipes, summer dress, whatever, but also a title so that people know what they will find in there. If you create a board named summer dresses and then people find their summer shoes, this makes no sense. So really make like the overall topic of this board and then only pin content that is useful for that board in there. For example, summer dresses. Okay, so then people know, all right, I only see summer dresses in there. Keep this board secret. This you can do. Then only you and your collaborators can see it. So if you have several people working on this profile, then of course also they can see it, but nobody from outside public. So I couldn't go as a visitor on your profile and see your board if it is secret. But since we want to get some views and engagement and reach with our board and our pins, we don't keep them secret. I click on create. All right, and now the first thing we need to do is to save some pins to our new board. Here are some recommendations from Pinterest or ideas, but I can also click on done here at the bottom right corner. Now you see, okay, this is empty with 0 pins. So what I do now is click on the search bar, search for summer dress, or upload pins myself. Whoops, not here, not your pins. This is important, but all pins. So the category was wrong. And here I see maybe this here. I now can click on save. And then I have a board, which is called summer dresses. And I save it in here. And what I now see in my profile is under saved, whoops, let's go down, this board summer dresses with 1 pin inside. Okay, this is a mistake. There is actually a pin inside. Let's wait for it. Okay, now it's here. And it says 1 pin. And you also see that the profile picture of this board is a combination of 3 different pins. You see, then kind of already pins inside of that board in the beginning, like a preview. Let's search for other pins or pin some ourselves. I like maybe this here. Save it. Why was I able to click on save without choosing the right board here? That's pretty easy because, let's do this here. Let's go with this, because it's already chosen for me. I could here now create a new one or just use another one I created already. But if I don't do that and I already have one, that's why it's already here recommended. I can easily click on save because that was the last one I used. This, and maybe let's go down here. This I like. Save. This I like. And remember, we talked about not more than 50 pins per day, including repins. So now, within 10 seconds, we already have collected like 5 repins. So that is pretty easy, but don't overdo it. Now we see in here, we have now different pins here, which we didn't create, but still they are in our board, and we have them here as a preview. Okay? And all pins, we have now 5 pins, so this is counted as own content made by us. And we are also responsible for what we pin into these boards because they are our boards, and we should only repin stuff that is legit. As a business, actually, that is even more important than as a private person. And now we have here our first board. Just to show you a bit here, I want to also talk about the things up here. The first thing is the plus, of course, down here in the bottom. We can create pin, idea pin, or to-dos, and sections also here for this board. So I could upload a pin directly into this board. With the setting button at the right side, I can change the view from default to compact, which is then a bit smaller, but I like default. We can click on more ideas to get more recommendations here and just click to add them, which is even easier than before. Now we have 7 pins. We can click on organize to reshuffle them. For example, say this here should go on the 3rd place. This one should be number 1. This one should be number 2, 3 or 4, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Perfect. And down here I can also move some pins, create sections, which are basically subfolders, or delete a pin. For example, delete. I would go here and click on it by just clicking. For example, this one here. I can also click on several different to mark them all. This one here is now marked because of the black border. Now I click on delete, and then this pin is gone. Or I click on this here and say create section, which is now summer dresses white. So a subcategory. And this is in here. And maybe summer dresses pink. And this is moved in here. So I have the overall board and I have subfolders inside of this board, which then looks like this. We have these subfolders and we have the pins that are not in subfolders, but only in the board, which is also nice. So if you have a pretty big board with, let's say, 2000 pins in it, it would make sense to categorize this into subfolders. But we will talk about this even in more detail, and I will give you an example for when this makes sense. Okay. What I also can do with this organize button is, for example, click in one subfolder, this here, click on organize, and then mark one or a few of these pins and then move them. Moving into the current board or another board or another subfolder. For example, current board summer dresses in the overall board or in the subfolder summer dresses white, because I misclicked and it's actually white instead of pink, would also make sense. Let's save it in white here, and it's going to be moved, so it's not in here anymore. And now, by going back, we will see, by updating the page, 0 pins in summer dresses pink and 2 pins in summer dresses white. So I moved the one from here into this subfolder. All right. If I want to delete here the folders or kind of change them, I can do that by clicking on this edit button and then delete or rename them or merge them. Merging is also possible. So I could say I pick a section, summer dresses white, and then all pins from pink are going to be moved to white. And now pink is deleted automatically, and all the pins, in this case 0, are moved to summer dresses white. So a lot of possibilities here to categorize your pins. And this is actually how to create a board in detail. We will talk about boards a lot of times in this course and also use them a couple of times. And it is really the way to have an organized profile. Because if a person likes a pin of yours and clicks on your profile after seeing this pin, this person of course sees your boards at first. And if you don't have any boards that make sense, or if it's a complete mess, then yeah, they won't follow you, they won't see further content. So really have a good categorized profile with a lot of good looking boards and of course pins as well, just to have a higher chance that people will click through that boards. So it's all about consumer experience, and good looking boards are of course a big part of that.